check, but this lovely picture of our sparrowhawk. And Joe, you better come up.
About time. Room on his wall.
Thank you so much. I don't stand in one place very well. Only I can move this. Can you hear me okay? Hear me okay? When I thought about what I've been thinking a while about what I would say, and such a most incredible honor. Friends have asked me about this. To me, it's the Nobel Prize of everything. It doesn't get better, and I'm so honored. And the first thing that came to mind was one of the most important lessons that I like to share with my students, and that is the importance of mutualism. In everyday world, we call this symbiosis, but there's this part of symbiosis we call mutualism, where organisms evolve and learn to live together in a way that they mutually benefit each other. And I think because we don't do that so well, we haven't looked for it very often, but lately our eyes have opened to that, and so we see this incredible world out there that's really based on organisms sharing and mutually benefiting from each other, rather than taking and trying to compete. And when they do that, whole new systems arise. If you can just imagine a coral reef. Imagine all the color. I was just at the new California Academy of Sciences. They have this big coral reef, and there's all these incredible colors and all of this incredible life. And if you look at that, you'll notice that there's no kelp, and there's no algae, and the water's clear. There's no microscopic plants in there taking sunlight and making sugars and all that stuff we talk about in biology. So where is it? Where does it all start? It turns out, if you look closely, within the little critters that make the coral, there's these algae, these dinoflagellates, they're called zooxanthellae, that take sunlight, make sugars, and it leaks out of their body into the polyps that they live in. And then the polyps, their waste is the food for the creatures that live in them. And because of that, the whole coral reef exists. The same thing with the forest. They're all connected underground by mycelial network. The same thing with the in Serengeti Plains. The bacteria are helping the creatures get the cellulose. The list goes on and on. Wherever you look, all creatures help each other in such a way that it makes the whole system arise. And I was thinking about us, all of you out there, and myself, and this connection here. And I was thinking, what a great example of mutualism. Two happy faces. You make my face happy in so many ways. When I see people's faces light up, when they teach me the wonderful things that I learn from them, when I have that opportunity to share my passion with them, two happy faces, coral and algae. You know? Yeah. And then I was thinking, well, what comes from that? The emergent property. What is the coral reef? It's the movement that's happening. It's that environmental movement, that change that has to happen. And that's all part of it. And I think we're all connected in that way. And we often look at things in a reductionist view where they're separated from everything else, but nothing is that way. And so that's what I wanted to share with you with this prize. It really is two happy faces. I get just as much out of you. And then lastly, I wanted to share a fun story. Jay Holcomb and I, when this was Louise A. Boyd Museum, do y'all remember? The Boyd Museum. In the latter days of that museum, Jay Holcomb is Mr. Oil Spill Birds, if anybody knows who Jay is. Yeah. Well, we had our own little wild care in the barn of the Humane Society. And something opened up, long story, politics changed and everything. Marin Wildlife Center occurred from that museum, and it became wildlife rehab. I was the weekend and holiday guy then. I was younger and so didn't have to be anywhere on Thanksgiving necessarily, and Christmas and New Year's and all that. I was the one that stayed here overnight, and I just wanted to share one. We found a porcupine that got hit by a car in San Anselmo, and she had, her name was Porchetta, and she went like this, she went, unless you give her an apple. And I used to love listening to her. And she had an opening in her abdomen that came down, and so she had to be sprayed with. Back then we had Benadine. I don't know if you use that anymore.
Yeah,
but we sprayed an antibiotic. It had to be done every 2 hours, and I was sleeping here. I was like, it's like midnight, time to spray Porchetta. And guess what? There's no volunteers here to help me. I was one of the weekend paid, you know. And so I was thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? I had to get a porcupine. Have you ever tried this? Get a porcupine into a fishing net. That's what I had to do. I put her on the paper and kind of roll the paper over. The fishing net was on the ground, and she'd be all. She'd fall in the fishing net. I'd lift her up and hold by myself, kind of holding this porcupine and stuff. So anyway, that's my story that I won't share with my listeners. Spray Porchetta. She made it, and we released her up in up by Bontempi. About a couple of months. So it was just one of the great stories that Wildcare does. So thank you all so much. Really good.